So when I'm going to teach this monologue class, and when I talk to actors about it, because we really haven't done it in class much in the workshops, which I'm going to probably add it, is it's all these things still that you learn from Meisner. Acting is doing. So when I teach a monologue, one of the first things is you're talking, you have to craft things specifically. Who are you talking to? You have to be specific. Who are you talking to? If I do a monologue, if I talk to my mom, that monologue, it's going to be very different than if I talk to a bunch of Girl Scouts. Or if I talk to my boss that I hate. Or, you understand, it changes everything. You have to know who you're talking to. Now, you're doing a play, you're doing a monologue. You have to know who you're talking to. Sometimes you're talking to the audience. In Shakespeare, you're talking to the audience. I believe one of the greatest actors in the world right now, and I even say that he might be the greatest actor in the world right now, is Mark Rylance. And when he talks, he does Shakespeare a lot, but he does everything. Mark Rylance, he was the artistic director of the Globe Theater. When you see him do Shakespeare, Shakespeare has these monologues, soliloquies, and monologues that talk to the audience, but he's very specific in how you got to know you're talking to the audience, and if you're talking to the audience, like in Shakespeare, you have to really use the audience and really talk to them. It's all about really talk.
But the audience give me a reaction. Yes,
that's right. That's right.
But the camera not.
Okay, that's
not
right. So
reaction.
that's why in camera work, it's very important for you to decide who you're talking to. Are you talking to your dead grandmother? Are you talking to an audience? You would have to decide who that audience is, most of the times it's not to an audience in film. It's a monologue that a lot of times you're talking to yourself, or you're talking to yourself as a child that you were, or, you can be very specific. Once you start getting specific and deciding who you're talking to, then that's the first step. That really helps you tremendously. Right? You can't just talk to talk. Yeah, you have to know who you're talking to. You have to be specific. See what the clues of the script. It's like this. By the way, I don't mean literally what you're talking to. Sometimes in a monologue, the camera's filming you, and you have to say something because you're talking out loud. You can decide who you're talking to, that the audience, it's just like an emotional prep. The audience will never know who you're talking to. They're going to relate it to the story, to the drama of the scene. You get me? So it's the same. You have to decide, just like an emotional prep. You don't have to do an emotional prep. This is a big thing I teach that hits, in a stadium, in a soccer stadium, the exact row and the seat in that stadium. You do not do that. That's too hard. You don't have to get that exact emotion that's exactly that seat in a stadium. No, you only have to do that stadium, which is here. You understand? Because the emotion in the scene will take care of the rest, meaning that's this stadium. A different scene is this stadium over here. You might have to do an emotional prep that goes in that direction. But that's all you have to do, is get in that right direction. Same thing with emotional prep, or with who you're talking to, the specifics you come up with. You have to choose who you're talking to, a specific that works, that's in the right path of that scene, that monologue. But the audience will never know exactly, but it's all about making choices. There we go. Let's say it's all about making choices. Advanced work, when you're acting, is all about choices, making choices and being specific. So you have to learn to make a choice and know who you're talking to. 2, I'm big on punctuation, using the punctuation and the clues from the script. The punctuation will give you the path of the monologue that will help your acting, almost like takes care of 50% of your acting, I say. you're doing that monologue in front of that camera, and you follow that punctuation, it's going to give you your acting, you know, because you're doing the statements, the periods where they are. You're doing questions. You're doing the path it gives you. So now you know who you're talking to. You're following the punctuation, and you start learning these things about what am I doing, these actions, what's my objective of the scene. You know that, but you make decisions on it, but then you let go. That's all the crafting, all the work that you decide before you do the monologue, before they roll, say go with the camera and you do this monologue. Then you actually let go, but you've done your work. You've done this work that it's going to color it. It's going to give you a path. And the biggest thing is the emotional prep coming into. You're doing a monologue, and the camera's filming you. We're going to film, right? The camera's filming you, Gosia, and it says, you know, your planet has been destroyed. You know, the monologue is your planet has been destroyed. Your planet of your species has been destroyed. Well, that may mean nothing to you. And it says in the monologue, you're supposed to be emotional. You just have to do an emotional prep. And if you learn how, it doesn't matter, you know, it could be about who knows what you're using, but you're not using your past real, like Judy said, an actor's going to go, oh my God, they're about to film in 2 minutes and I'm supposed to be emotional. I gotta be emotional. It's all about being truthful. So what can I do? What can I do? Think, okay, my cat died last week. My cat died, Fluffy. And I think about my cat that died. They do this all the time because they got to be emotional for this scene. So they think Meisner gives us the tool. You don't have to do that. You can use your imagination. I can do it. Give me 30 seconds, 60 seconds. I can get somewhere. Again, you don't hold on to it. If I do an emotional prep and then, you know, Diane Keaton says, they're about ready to film. She goes, give me just 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You understand? And she just 3 seconds, 4 seconds. She gets, and even before she gets grounded, she has one emotional prep, Judy, that's there that she doesn't do all the way, but it's right there. And she can say, hi to you. Okay, let's film, get ready. And then right before the camera starts rolling, she thinks about that emotional prep, you know, what she's using. The camera starts rolling and it does something to her, but this is the toughest thing. Great actors let go. She just trusts that let's see what happens. My God, that's vulnerable. That takes a lot of courage to do that, to say, let go, let me just trust it, and let the text with that emotional prep. The text is like you're in the canoe, and the text and the emotional prep's the water. You know, the water can be rough, can be just, let's see how the canoe goes down the water. Let the emotional prep color the canoe, how it goes down the river, and then do it and trust it and see what happens. That's a lot to learn. You do that, but then you can do a monologue in front of a camera and you're not self-aware, worrying about what am I doing? Who am I talking to? How do I do this monologue? There's work to do, but then you can let go, really let go, and you'll be okay. And you can do 10 takes. And because I say this stadium thing, you'll be same in the same. It shouldn't be drastically different, but it'll be different. Some actors do drastically different because they're just guessing at things. I'll tell you, if you're going that right ballpark, the right stadium, it's going to be different. It should be different all 10 takes, but in the same. Does that make sense, Judy? In the same area, not like you're all of a sudden going to be crazy. Now you're doing the whole thing laughing. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. It's slightly different because you commit to it every time, like from scratch, right? You have to be there truthfully every moment, yeah. And
so it should be different. Because of that, it should be different. But if you're working specifically, I've found that it's going to be in the right area instead of in the wrong area.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then you have a director who will guide you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a good director, they're going to help you a lot. Most of us will have bad directors. But then that's why if you have great tools, you can listen to a director and say, look, I want you to do it where you're laughing on that line and this and that. And your job is that you have to make that happen truthfully. That's what I tell actors. Then if I feel it's wrong, but that director wants that, and sometimes you don't know their vision. Let me tell you, film is a director's medium, not an actor's medium.
Yeah. True.
It's a director's medium. The director can. So your job is to try to. Yes, you got to use your instincts. I'll tell you, because some directors don't even know how to deal with actors. They know everything else. They're doing all the technical stuff and they're good at it, but they don't know really. That's why they hire great actors, because they don't have to worry about it. The great actors do what they do half the job for them of that part of it. The problem is that area where you don't have actors that are that skilled, and you have directors that don't really know how to work with actors, which you get a lot of the time. Today's world, I find there's less and less real directors that really know how to help the actor be truthful and be free, which is ultimately what they want, to be truthful, but they think they want it, that they think they want a result. But if they're smart, like I direct, I want truth. We pray for truth. There's all these famous stories about things that happen accidentally on set, on film, and they keep that part because because it's real. But a lot of bad actors, something happens that they didn't think was supposed to happen, and they like stop, and they're like, he was not supposed to pick up the flowers then. But that's not what great actors do. Can you imagine? Marlon Brando went with everything. That's why they kept things that happened impulsively, spontaneously. He was so good at it. Everyone else, it made everyone else alive. You're working with Marlon Brando, you had no idea what you're going to get. It's the scene, but you have to be alive. Yeah. Now, if we have any time, I know you might have some other questions, but I'm very interested in this thing of what Judy said about how'd you say it, Judy, about like, is there a difference? Is there an American
Different approach, yeah.
different
Yeah,
approach? That's a good word, approach. Is there an approach to American Meisner or European Meisner? Mentioning like Tom Radcliffe, as we know, brought it to Europe, brought it to London first, and that's how it expanded to Europe. Do you have anything about that? I'm very curious about that.
What do you say, Gosha? No, it's just that observing your workshops, I just saw some differences. And also, I have a friend who studied in New York. She learned a Meisner technique, and I used to do the repetition with her, and it was just a different experience,
I find, like I was trying to say in the email I sent you or back, I find that it's really not a American European thing, even though we may categorize it as that right now. We're starting to, like, just this last couple of years is the first time. It's not the first time I've heard this before. In this last couple of years, I've heard this from a couple other people about American way of thinking. And this is my first impressions, my first thoughts of it are that it's not really that. It's just teachers are different,
That's
depending.
for sure.
For teachers are different, and how you and but it's like, Tom, I don't know. I mean, Tom and I know of each other, and we've talked by email and stuff. We've never met, but we've talked by email and we know of each other. Because I teach so much over there now too. Many of our students, we have many of the same students. Many actors that stay with me have studied with Tom and studied with me. And I think that's really cool. They tend to say to me, I don't know what they say to Tom, but they tend to say to me, I studied with Tom too, and I studied with you, and you're both really good, really strong. You're both really strong with the work, but you're different. So I like getting different things from both of you. You know what I mean? That's what I hear from a lot of the students. Judy, what I've heard, and
But
I'm
what's the
interested.
difference?
Well,
What's the difference?
the difference, I don't know. I haven't seen Tom teach. Did you study with Tom, or someone that studied with Tom, probably, right, at the Actors Temple, or did you?
Yeah, I did workshops with Tom. Now I
Yeah,
also, yeah, he's doing the Meisner talks now online, and I'm also
yeah.
I only
attending.
observe his.
Good. Yeah, I'm going to start doing more of that, and I'm setting those up now, and I need to. I've done some live Q&As and questions and stuff, and I'm doing some big ones coming up that are going to be bigger platforms where I'm figuring it out myself. You know, you can tell me any suggestions you have. We're all
No, we
figuring
did.
it out now.
Yeah, we did like one workshop online, and we're starting with the online
Yeah,
path because there's
yeah.
no other way to do it,
Right,
you know.
right,
There are
right,
some elements of the technique that can be
right.
done online, right?
Yeah, I'm starting out with where I'm going to do this monologue workshop, and I'm going to do another one of emotional prep, because we can,
Yeah.
but I'm starting with that. I'm not starting with a, 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 a workshop one, repetition thing,
I
even
think
though
it's a, I don't think it's possible. And the
well, you
improvising.
can do like I'm like a group the other day. What happened was a group that I work with in Amsterdam, excuse me, they meet, they used to meet, all the cities I teach, many of them meet privately every 2 weeks, every second Sunday, to do repetition, because you can always practice repetition. When we worked with Sandy, he said, practice repetition, practice repetition. We had to do a ton of it outside of class. So I try to tell my students, get together, do repetition. Do it for a short time. You only do it for a short time with someone, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, not longer than that, and then switch with someone. You can do that, but you can't do more than that, because you need a teacher there. You need a teacher to do activities and things beyond. You have to have a teacher, but you can practice repetition. So, but now they're doing it by Zoom, practicing repetition, like,
Really? Wow.
yeah. So like so they had me on, and I'm learning some things, but the thing is like, I was watching them, and it was very hard, Judy, for me not to come in and say something, because they're doing some things wrong, and when I say wrong, not things that aren't helping them, they're doing some things that are keeping them. It's not about right or wrong. It's about, well, how can your acting be stronger? They're doing some things that are keeping them from, following every impulse and listening 100% in their thinking some moments. So I got to figure, I don't know,
It's difficult.
I did work repetition with someone, like if I did with you, I can do it right now with you, Judy, and I can do repetition to practice. But there's some things, that help to have a teacher, because, you could practice something wrong too. It's good to do repetition, but it's while you're actually learning with a teacher. You can practice repetition, but you got to keep learning and practicing with someone helping you at some point. You know what I mean? So you can know what you're not
Yeah,
doing
definitely.
wrong.
Because if you're in the experience, you cannot like be the
Right.
observer at the same
Yeah.
time. This is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
impossible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I totally get what you say.
But I want to look into, so I don't know how I can set up, I don't, so I don't know how I can do a workshop of repetition and everything, and people, maybe, I mean, I think right now what I'm going to start, because I'm going to do this big Q&A thing with like a lot of people. It's going to happen, like someone's helping me with that in next Saturday or something. I'll let you know about it.
Ah,
Let you
sure.
guys know
Please
about it.
do.
Because I can talk like we are and help you with the things that you need to try, that will help you be stronger, that will help you with the repetition, that will guide you to be the Meisner work, So it's talks, and I can talk a lot about it. I don't know right now how much I can help you. Maybe I think I'm going to teach you, like if I was working with you two can do repetition, see, and then I can stop and I can help you and teach you. So I think we can do some. I can really help with repetition, but but we can't do that thing that you're in the room together. You know what I mean? I mean, coming to the door and stuff, but I can help you too with repetition.